Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is a call, well, this isn't a call to order, but there are no candidates that have been selected for public comment, but this is a special meeting of the board and interview process for candidates that are looking to participate as board members. And this is Thursday, August 3rd, 2023, 6 p.m. We are at Central High School. Present with us tonight, we have Ms. Allen, Mr. Benningham, Mr. Sokolovic, and Ms. Baptiste Perez. At this moment, we are waiting on our first candidate to participate, so we'll go mute in just a moment until that candidate comes in. But let the record reflect that there is no one here for public comment at the moment. And once we have our first candidate who has been set to interview at 6:15, we'll start back our meeting. So Jeff, if you could just pause us. And let the record, Mr. Traver is here as well. Hi, everyone. We are back. I would officially like to call the meeting to order at 6:19. The candidate that was previously supposed to be scheduled for the 6:15 to 6:30 time slot has not arrived. I would like to, if anyone would like to make a motion that we go into recess because our next candidate is not until 6:35.
I move that we go into recess.
Second. Okay, moved by Ms. Allen, second by Ms. Casimir. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we'll see everybody back at 6:35.
What would you prefer?
Okay. All right, so everyone, thank you for joining us. Our candidate that was scheduled for 6:35 is here with us this evening. We've asked candidates who are not being interviewed currently we've had them set up in a room so they can be called one by one. So thank you, Ms. Jennifer, for joining us. Each board member will be given one question. The one question will be repeated for not just you, but any other individuals that will be going for this position. And feel free to answer them. Keep in mind that you are on a time slot, so make sure you get the best answer to the board that you would like to hear. And what we'll do is, oh yes, let the record reflect Mr. Gellin is here with us. Just 1 second. Okay. It's good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we will start with questions. So board members, feel free to ask your questions. Remember, the question must be repeated for all members that are all candidates that will come out. So we'll start at this side of the table.
Sure.
Yes. Okay, so our first is Mr. Gellin.
Good evening. Thank you for showing interest in the school board position. My question to you is, can you name one thing that you would want to continue to see in Bridgeport Public School and one thing you would like to see change?
I'll start with the change. One thing I'm currently just so everybody knows I'm running for the open seats. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about is I'm a social worker, so increasing social emotional learning. And so having more social workers in schools, nurses in schools, and support staff that can help students, achieve their own social health, mental health. And so the change of licenses is increasing that aspect of the school system in whatever way we can. And then you said currently doing?
So that we're currently doing that you want to see continue.
So one thing I saw this past year is, the fight for increasing budget. And I applaud you all for going to city council and, working towards increasing the budget for the school. So making sure that we all continue that in the upcoming year, especially with the new funding from the state or the additional funding from the state that might be coming our way. And so increasing the our funding for our students and fighting against the systems that keep the funding back. Right? And so that's something that I would like to see done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go on to Ms. Baptiste Perez, I do apologize. If you could just give us a moment of, just tell us a little bit about yourself, something you want us to know, like a small introduction, and then we'll continue. I apologize.
So I did mention I'm a social worker. And so I'm from Bridgeport and have been through the system, the school system here. I graduated from Central Magnet in 2007. And so, I've gone through the public school system, and I also taught here for a few years. And that's reflected on my resume. But other than that, I love Bridgeport and I love the students here and our diversity. And I want to continue working for that and helping our students achieve what they can.
Thank you. Ms. Baptiste Perez.
What is your current criticism of the Board of Education? Specify changes you would like to see, identify specific committees that it would impact, and how your skills will actually contribute to the success of the board and the overall district.
So the current criticism, I guess, is being addressed because I'm here, that there is or there has been not a full board always present at meetings. And so the biggest criticism is people just not showing up to do the job they're appointed for. And so, can you repeat the last part of the question?
Oh, it has semicolons. Specify the changes you would like to see, identify the committees that it would impact, and how your skills will contribute to the success of the board and the overall district.
So in terms of like the committees that it would impact, it would probably impact all the committees, whoever's not showing up for their committees. And so in terms of that criticism, one of the reasons I'm applying for the job is to be present. And so I believe by putting people who want to be here in place and who can show up for all the meetings, they can have a positive impact for the board and continue the changes that are being made. So.
And how your skills will contribute to the success of the district and the Board of Education and the overall district.
Gotcha. Thank you. So in terms of skills, I think, so in just my background in terms of some of the positions I've held, I've been a manager at a residential treatment facility for almost 7 years now. And so one of the things that I've done in that facility is hiring, policy work, in terms of revising our policy and procedures that the program runs, and also setting forth new onboarding and retention plans. And so, I think I can bring those skills that I have in just my work here in terms of how to help committees. And so I think my background in policy work and just in managing staff can help in certain committees, bring out the changes that we need for our system here.
Thank you. Ms. Cashmere.
Yes. Please tell us about a time when you effectively advocated on behalf of a child in any scenario. So it doesn't have to be your child, but just any child. Please tell us about a time when you effectively advocated on behalf of a child.
So I think in terms of the work I do in mental health, I work for a program that treats adolescents dealing with eating disorders and all types of mental health disorders. So depression, bipolar, you name it, we deal with it. And so, some of the work we do there basically helps change their lives for the better. We take kids in who have suicidal ideations and actually had attempts, and we work with them and provide them a safe place so that we can, so they can change and heal. And so in terms of the advocacy work, I work directly with parents and other therapists and staff members to really see what that child needs and help them reach that goal. And so in terms of advocacy work in that sense, that's something I'm passionate about is mental health for adolescents. And so,
Can you give me one specific example of how you successfully advocated for one of those kids?
Okay. So we've had maybe I'll take something else then because of like privacy stuff. I don't want to say names or anything, but
Right.
But in terms of when I taught in schools, you know, we had a student once who, or I had a student once who, you know, had behavior concerns, and it was, I saw it more of anxiety and other things that were happening at home. So in terms of advocacy for them, I brought that to the attention of the social worker in the school and the principal, because there was something deeper happening and that was overlooked because past teachers said, no, they just behave bad because they're just a bad student. Whereas there was something going on in the home. And so we did look into that a little more, and there were situations in the home that were presenting and caused them to act quote bad. But really, there was just some past trauma experience there.
Thank you.
Anything, Mr. Benninger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for applying. My question for you, do you know we have almost 20,000 students, 3,500 magnificent staff, around 30,000 parents and community? What are you going to do if you be elected from the board, and what can you do give to Bridgeport Public Schools?
For the students, you're saying?
Mhm.
You're saying for the students?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying students, parents, community and staff, general.
So one thing is being present and attending the different events that the schools have, the community has, so that they know who we are, where I am as a board member if I get selected, so that I can hear from parents, teachers, students, what the needs are. I don't work in the district. I don't have a child in the district, so being present at board meetings, school events, community events is going to be paramount for that, and actually communicating with the parents to see what the needs are for the students, and the teachers, you know.
Thank you.
Did I answer your full
Yeah.
question?
Thank you.
Mrs. Sokolovich?
Good evening, Mr. Perez. Thank you for applying. As everybody knows, we've got a new superintendent. How will you work to ensure a good working relationship with the superintendent?
Yes, I attended the forum the community forum, and they're both really good candidates. And so with the new superintendent, Dr. Levy David, really just welcoming her and to the district and helping support her in the plans that she makes to change for the students and the teachers and the community here. Being open to hear her ideas and working with the board to kind of advocate for whatever policy changes she may want to make, whatever funding she's asking for and requesting, you know, and back her for that, and also maybe push her to ask for increased funding and not to be shy about, you know, asking for money that the students deserve. I am excited for the change that's going to happen with the new superintendent. And so I'm hoping that we can work with her to help her make the changes that need to be made for the students.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
I just want to know, you said you had been in a position of this sort, and you've been there for a number of years. Have you made any changes or any things that you could utilize and pass on through the district? Have you done that?
So one of the things that I was able to work on with the our HR team and quality management team was we redid our onboarding for our staff. We realized that with proper training and proper onboarding training, we can retain more staff. And so we redid our whole training process so that they can know exactly what they need to be doing when they step foot in our facilities. And then in addition to that, we also worked on a retention plan that included additional trainings and developments for the staff. And so when it comes to what I can do on the board, I think in that sense, I can help whichever committees. So I know there's a personnel committee, whatever committees we have, I think I can be flexible in helping with new ideas for staff retention, for instance. And so that's one example.
Would you go?
Just need one question.
Oh,
Ms.
thank
Allen.
you. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're totally fine.
I'm long-winded.
It's okay. Mr. Traver?
I want to, it is, I do have depending on the answer, I have a follow-up. So I'll ask it as a two-part question. How do you feel about charter schools and the use of public money to fund them?
So in terms of charter schools, I am against charter schools because I do believe that we should have transparency and we should know where the money is going. And if we had a system that parents believed in, we wouldn't need charter schools. We don't have charter schools in a lot of the suburbs and any of the suburbs around here. And so we know that they're really in our districts, urban communities. And so I'm strongly against them and against additional charter schools from being formed here. As for funding, that is, I wouldn't say a difficult question, but it's, I guess, a loaded question because we have students in our district in the schools. So I do believe that we need to fund the schools so that the students have what they need. However, there has to be some type of change in terms of where that money is going and how we can, we know where that money is going. And so, yeah, that's kind of the answer to your question.
Thank you. And last, my question is, this seat requires a level of flexibility. Do you believe your current schedule allows for you to attend special meetings, board meetings, and committee meetings?
Yes, so I would treat this like a job because it is. And so my work schedule is in the daytime. So other than that, this would be a priority as well.
All right, thank you. We've answered all the questions of the board members. We will be having a meeting on Monday that will give you updates on the next steps for this particular seat. But without further ado, thank you for interviewing with us today.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
have a good evening. And I'll pull up 1 second. Our next interviewee is Ms. Shakisha Williams, and her interview time is at 6:55, so and a little bit over with the first candidate, so I'm not sure. Have we seen? Yep. Just wait for an update real quickly. You can mute us at the moment. All right. Yep.
Good evening.
Sorry. Are you Ms. Shakisha Williams?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I want to be sure.
Yes. Everyone, we are now moving on to our second candidate, Ms. Shakisha Williams. So thank you for joining us tonight and having interest in this seat, this vacant seat of the Board of Education. I'm going to share the same thing I shared with the other candidates. We're going to ask you to introduce yourself, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Each board member has seen your resume or your interest letter. And then each board member will be given an opportunity to ask you one question. That one question will be echoed through all the interviews. Feel free to answer it, be mindful of the time, but definitely answer it to the best of your knowledge. Okay. All right, so if you could just give us a little bit about yourself, something that you didn't already share in your bio or in your cover letter that you'd like us to know.
Okay, well, again, my name is Shakisha Williams.
Could you speak up a little bit? so
Yes.
we could hear?
Sorry.
Thank
My
you.
name is Shakisha Williams. I grew up in the city of Bridgeport, born and raised. Went through the public school system. I actually graduated from here a really long time ago. I have a 27-year-old went through Bridgeport School, and I have a 5-year-old who is going into first grade in the Bridgeport public school system. I currently work in the Department of Social Services. A lot of my background has been in human services. I've worked and managed group homes. I've also worked in the Fairfield Public School System, and I worked at St. Vincent's Special Needs as a paraprofessional.
Thank you. All right, our first question will come from Mr. Gellin.
Again, thank you again for showing interest in this very important seat. Again, my name is David Gellin. My question is, what would you like to see change in the Bridgeport school system? And can you name something you'd like to see continued in the system?
Change. I've been away from the system for a very long time, obviously. My son's just coming back through. So I'm a little out of touch with what is going on. And when my daughter was in the system, I was obviously a young mom. I would. Would you like to go to the next question? Sure. All right. Ms. Baptiste Perez.
What is your current criticism of the Board of Education? Specify the changes you would like to see. Identify the committees that it would impact and how your skills will contribute to the success of the board and the overall district. And if you need me to repeat it, part one of the question, what is your current criticism of the Board of Education?
I don't have any right now.
Specify the changes you would like to see.
I would like to see. I would just like to, like the education system in Brooklyn.
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I would just like the system to just run a little better, a little smoother. Things not to be so hard. For more information to get out to the parents and things like that.
And then with that change, you would like to see, identify the committees it would impact.
I'm not too familiar with all the committees.
Okay, and no, it's fine. The last part of the question is, how would your skills contribute to the success of the board and the overall district?
I'm very dedicated. I'm an advocate for children and education. I'm always trying to help people where I can, get information out there. When I see people in need, I try and give out whatever, information I can to help them. Thank you. Ms. Casimir?
Please tell us, oh, hi, thank you for applying for the position. Please tell us about a time when you effectively advocated on behalf of a child in any scenario.
I can speak from my own experience with my child. And again, it was a long time ago, and she, even though I was a young mom, from the time that she was in kindergarten, I knew that she had some issues. And I think that back then I was kind of pushed along because I had my daughter when I was 18. And I had to fight. And it took me until the fourth grade, but I never gave up, and I got the resources that she ultimately needed.
Thank you.
Mr. Benning.
Thank you. How are you? Thank you for applying. A question for you. Do you know we have almost 20,000 students, 3,500 magnificent staff, around 30,000 parents in the community? What are you going to do if you're elected from the board and to get to Bridgeport Public School?
Again, I would like to, I'm very big in advocating, and assisting parents with being in the know. There are a lot of parents who just don't know things. They're unaware of information. And,
the information that's out there. Sometimes it's really hard to find, you can call 211, but you're not always getting, to the proper place. So I would really like to, be out there and, getting parents more involved. And I think if parents were more involved, the kids would be more likely to engage in school and do the things that they need to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Sokolovic?
Yes. Welcome, Ms. Williams. Thank you for applying. As you know, we've got a new superintendent. How would you, as a board member, ensure effective working relationship with the superintendent?
As far as me, I can pretty much work with anyone. I'm a team player. I can voice an opinion without overstepping. Again, I pretty much can work with anyone.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
If you do decide to take this position, would you be able to work with all of the parents in the school, or would you have a select group of parents, or how would you go about?
Point of order. Ms. Allen has to repeat the same question to all the candidates.
So Ms. Allen, the question that you mentioned before, do you remember what that question is for the previous candidate? Would you like to move on to the next question? Would you like me to turn to Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could it be read off the record?
I didn't make a complete note, but it had to do with, have you made any changes in your position that you could bring to the board, I think.
Now,
Have you made any changes in your current position that you could bring to the board?
Something along those lines.
Okay. Do you believe you can answer that question?
Have I made, as far as
In your current
my
position?
current position, that's not fair to the candidates. It's the same question. This is our fourth time we've done it with the Republican candidates, and we've done that before with Ms. Castillo-C. If Ms. Allen can't answer the question, then I think we should just strike it from the record and move on.
All right, Ms. Allen,
yes.
can you repeat the question that you had before for the record? Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll move that question and go on to Mr. Traver.
Thank you for applying. And I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about charter schools and whether or not they should be getting public funds?
Again, my son is just coming back into the education system. I really did attend Park City Prep Charter School for a little while when she went from 6th to 8th grade. We had some success in it. I'm very much, I love public school system. I think that it should be doing what?
Thank you. And last question is, this seat requires a level of flexibility. Do you believe your current schedule allows for you to attend special meetings, board meetings, and committee meetings? Yeah. All right, well, that is all the questions of the board. I want to say thank you again for interviewing for this seat. There will be a meeting on Monday with more updates. You'll receive updates concerning that meeting. But thank you for interviewing with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So our next meeting, just 1 second. Our next interview question is at 7:15, so we'll take I'd like to take a, is there a motion? Is there a second?
Oh.
Second by Ms. Respect the time that we let,
Candidates here, last candidate of the night.
That's possible.
it's been moved and passed. Yes, so let's keep it as is and respect the time that.
It wasn't moved and passed. That's the point of information.
Oh, it was about to be voted on.
But it wasn't.
It's about to be voted.
That's correct. So I can withdraw my motion if somebody withdraws the second. We can, but
Just
first I think we
correct it.
should check with Ms. Kennedy, see if she's prepared to come on at the earlier time. What do you think?
I wanted to use the restroom, so.
Oh,
I-
okay, that's fine.
Okay, I'll keep it.
You'd already take one.
And just,
So,
a
so we
motion
just,
to amend that is 5 minutes. That's
Okay.
enough time.
Fine.
I second the motion to amend.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the amendment?
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay, now the main motion's on the floor.
Oops, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I would have gone along with the original one if you just answered the question.
Any
That's all I answered.
abstentions?
Fine, sorry.
Hearing none, motion carries. We'll have a 5-minute recess.
Sorry,
This
I didn't
meeting is-
hear your question. But let's
Thank you. Calling the meeting back to order. All members present prior to are still here. Our last candidate of the evening is Ms. Joanne Kennedy. Ms. Kennedy, we just asked that, once, before we start the questions, that you tell us a little bit about yourself, something that you didn't already state in your resume or in your cover letter. Each board member has been asked to ask one question and keep consistent with that one question. It has been consistent with all of the other candidates prior to this. So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
That been put in the cover letter and the resume, but lifelong resident here in the city of Bridgeport, went to Watersville School, Eastside Middle School, Harding, but I tell everybody I bleed green because I love Bassett, and my children graduated from there in 2015. That being said, I just have a passion for, the city of Bridgeport, been here all my life. And I just look forward to continuing to do what I've been doing. What I love to do is advocate, work with the students, in whatever capacity I can, work with the board in whatever capacity I can, to make things better for our children here in the city of Bridgeport.
Thank you. And again, thank you for applying for this seat.
Thank you for the privilege.
No problem. The first question will come from Mr. Geller.
Hi, Ms. Kennedy. Good evening, and thank you again for showing interest in this.
Thank you.
My question to you is, what would you like to see change in the Bridgeport public school system, and something you would like to see continued?
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to, when I start speaking before the board, majority of the time I say scripture. And the scripture I was coming with today is Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. We need to have a vision as the Board of Education. Ms. Levy David has spoke to that, having a vision for 100-day vision that she had for our district. We have to have vision. If we are not people of vision, our children are going to perish along with us. So there's a lot of good things about the city of Bridgeport in our district. We have a lot of dedicated people. We have a lot of dedicated children. We have a lot of dedicated staff, family that want to see us do better. So any change, hopefully will be going in the positive direction, So that is what I'm looking forward to doing. Anything, I see things that definitely need touching on. We need just a lot of more TLC in our buildings with our staff, really seriously with our staff, because I know our staff is concerned about the conditions that they work in. Some of them may have those conditions and some of them don't. And then just for them to be heard, that's one of my issues, for them to be heard. I don't want any teacher or anyone ever feel that they cannot come to anyone on this board and express their concern. It's only right for us to listen to our staff and take them very seriously without anybody. And I wouldn't think that it would come from here. Definitely not. Or the new superintendent or, previous, but still at the same time, they've had these issues before. So if it happened before, that's something that we need to clean up and make sure that they're comfortable coming to you guys and whoever else they need to come to, however else they need to go up that ladder to get their problems resolved.
Thank you. Just to follow up, anything you would like to see continued in the Bridgeport school system, something that you like, would like to see continued?
Well, I'm a person, I'm a sports person. So I like us to continue with more sports, more activities for the children, more after-school programs, We need more. We don't need less. We don't need to cut. We don't need to be put into position, I need to say it like that, to have to cut any of our services, that extracurricular activities that we have. We need to build a well-rounded student, well-rounded child. When they go to college and different things like that, people are looking for them for jobs. They don't want them just to be a bookworm. You know, they want them to be, maybe they can play piano, maybe they sing, maybe they play sports. My son plays sports and my daughter plays sports and she played volleyball. We want a well-rounded child. So I think we need more after-school activities, and mainly on the high school level, because maybe everybody's not into sports. They may want to do the arts. Maybe they want to do literature. You know, there's just a lot of things that students can do. It's a plethora. I went to the eye doctor one time and I was like, he opened the drawer and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Have you ever thought about putting that before the students, that they could be an eye doctor? You know, different things, a throat doctor, different things like that. So we need to be more diverse in our thinking as far as our careers for our children.
Thank you. Ms. Baptiste Perez?
What is your current criticism of the Bridgeport Board of Education? Specify the changes you would like to see. Identify the committees that it would impact. I'll repeat it, and how your skills will contribute to the success of the board and the overall district. So the first part of the question is, what is your current criticism of the Bridgeport Board of Education?
Well, there's always room for improvement. I wouldn't say criticize. In the past, because I've been coming to these meetings for over 12 years, and I don't want to say criticize per se. I've been at the podium and have said several things that I was disappointed in, but we have to make room for improvement. This board should be cohesive, no matter what the personalities are, no matter who's the chair or who's not the chair. You should get along, you know? Right? Can't we all just get along? And it's for our children. It's not about egos. You gotta leave your ego at the door and come in here and hunker down and do the business of the students and families.
Okay. The second part of the question is, specify the changes you would like to see.
Better attendance for each and every board member. There's been times where me being on the outside had better attendance than the elected people on the board. So the first part is showing up. Show up. You know, someone voted you in, whether it's this board or whether it's the city of Bridgeport. They put you there because they said, oh, okay, we probably can trust this person. Let's put that person in. Okay? And show up. Be there. Your attendance is everything. Your presence is everything. You know, we don't see your faces. That's disappointing. You know, where's you know, Albert today? Where's someone? I know all you guys by first name. I know all you guys by first names. You know, most people may not. But they was like, so who's the Board of Education members? If you're not there, they're not gonna know who you are. You know, if you're sporadically in and out, it's not good. Attendance is very, very, very important to me. My children have pretty much perfect attendance through K through 12, so, and I believe in attendance.
Identify the committees that it would impact. So you mentioned attendance. So identify the committees that it would impact is kind of redundant.
Well, it would impact all the committees, pretty much. It would impact all the committees. In reference to like finance and all of them are important, but finance, facilities, students and families, as much as we can, even if you're not on that committee, you should try to show up. You know, because in the past that has happened where before a majority of you guys, people would show up at the other meetings, you know, and it wasn't their committee, but they showed up to put their voice in, so on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with you coming to every single meeting, because that's what I did. I did it. You know, when they were having the meetings downtown at City Hall. And to me, they need to be more centrally located, you know, for it just to be able to like, okay, here's the city, centrally located meetings, you know, and that's what I think.
And how would your skills contribute to the success of the board and the overall district?
My presence?
Your skills will contribute to the success of the board and the overall district.
Okay, I'm kind of like a kumbaya type of person. My skills, I have a lot of customer service skills. So I'm all about the team, TEAM. Let's do it together. That's the type of person, I don't have a problem working with anybody. You know, doesn't matter if you're mad at me or whatever, we still have to work together for what we have to do. You know, we just, like I said, again, the Eagles need to stay at the door. And we just need to get along. We need to think critically. We need to be able to agree to disagree, you know, come to a resolution, sit down and come, let's reason together. Let's all be reasonable. We're grown-ups. We're all over a certain age. I believe we're all of us are over 25 in here, right? Anybody 25?
No.
Ms. Allen?
No.
So, you know, we're all grown-ups. Let's be the grown-ups, let the children be the children. At the end of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Casper.
Thank you for coming here for a second time to
Thank
interview
you.
for a position on the board. Please tell us about a time when you effectively advocated on behalf of a child in any scenario.
Okay. Go right to the cheerleading. Okay, so I'm a cheerleading coach at Bassett, and we have to have our paperwork in. We have to have all our paperwork in, had our paperwork in. And someone asked me, well, how is she a cheerleader or whatever? They were questioning me what I was doing. I know I had all my paperwork in, and my cheerleaders were able to cheer. And, you know, they kind of gave me a hard time, so on and so forth. But then they found out everything was in order. You know, they allowed her to cheer. And that was one of my special needs cheerleaders. Okay. So, you know, people used to seeing what they're seeing on the floor as cheerleaders, you know, all the mainstream students. But one of the special needs teachers came to me one day and said, I have a young girl that wants to be on a cheerleading squad, and she's in a special ed. And I was elated, you know. And so I advocated for her, and she was, I mean, the girls welcomed her, they teaching her to cheer. Did she get everything perfectly? No. But she was so happy. She had her little cheerleading uniform, so on and so forth. And that was just one of those heartfelt, you know, things that happen, you know, dealing with students. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Mr. Banahan?
Hello, Ms. Kennedy again. So many years that I know you as my customer said it's the second time you apply and
Absolutely.
it's like you care. And I really appreciate that. My question for you is, do you know we have almost 20,000 students, 3,500 magnificent staff, around 30 parents in the community? What do you going to do if the board elected you as a board and you give to Bridgeport Public School?
Well, knowledge. I'm going to be 63 years old on this night. I don't have my age. So I have a lot of wisdom. I have a lot of life skills. I have a lot of wisdom, and I have a lot of family members also that are in the system. That a couple of them are in the system, but we're all in education. We have a legacy of education. You know, my sister has a VIP college prep program. My God rest his soul. We just buried my mom's husband, my stepfather, Mr. Kachapley. Mr. Traver may know him, and you know him. So he had a legacy. He was a teacher for 58 years, and went through the Bridgeport Public School system. So I bring that with me. I bring a lot of our family legacy here, and this is just what we're focused on. You know, my daughter works in early childhood development. Both of my daughters work in early childhood development. My son works with special needs students. My nephew who's over at Harding works with special needs students, and he's a basketball coach. So again, my sister has a VIP prep program. My mom lived at Hollywood House. So it's just in us. My sister homeschools. Well, she has a small daycare where she takes care of young children. I bring all that, my family, my legacy, our love for children. We just love children. We just love children. We love youth. We love education. That's the lane I'm in, and that's the lane I want to stay in.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy.
Mrs. Sokolovic?
Good evening, Ms. Kennedy. Welcome again. How are you? Very good. Thank you for applying again. My question is, as you are aware, we've got a new superintendent. How would you ensure a good working relationship between the board and the superintendent?
Ms. Levy David is, I listened to her actually on WICC this morning. And again, she's amazing. She's the unicorn that we've been looking for, you know? She has she said, 26 years? And working as this is her passion, this is her love, this is her lifelong career. Some things are just ordained by God, you know? Let's just put it out there like that. It's ordained by God. You know what you love to do, so get in there and do it. She doesn't look like she's the type of person that wants to get her hands dirty. And I'm that type of person too. I will go out there and clean the grass. I will go out there and do whatever it is that you need to do. So it's that she's welcoming. We should be welcoming. We should be cohesive. There should not be any bickering. We need to be an example. And I think she's setting the example. She's very encouraging. She's very, she has a lot of foresight. It's almost like she's been here, but she's been there, done that. So it's like coming from 80,000 students to, 19 plus thousand students here. We need to work with her. Whatever her vision is, we need to work together with her, and treat her fairly and treat her nice. She's like a very wonderful person. As far as I've seen so far, I listened to the interview today. I was there at the community forum. So we need to be able to trust someone. And I think she seems to be putting herself out there that she can be trusted. So the board should, also extend that out and say, okay, let's trust each other until, anything crazy happens, but I don't think it is. I think we will be able to work together with the superintendent to get things accomplished that we want to get accomplished. I really believe that.
Thank you. Mr. McLeod was able to get Ms. Allen's question and he wrote it down for us. So Ms. Allen, you just have to read what the question.
She didn't ask the last candidate the question. So every candidate was not asked the same question.
I can't see it. I don't have my glasses and I can't see it. I'm asking her to read it for me.
The last candidate wasn't read the
Somebody
question.
else do it for me.
Yeah, Mr. McLeod was reasonable enough to write down the question for her
I
because she
can't
couldn't
see it.
reply.
I don't have my glasses.
Everyone knows her situation. I just want to make sure she's given an opportunity to be able to ask her question. He did do
First
that.
candidate was.
The second candidate did not. Therefore, every candidate was not asked the same question.
You have one that was and one that wasn't, so which one do you decide to?
Therefore, it should be stricken. She couldn't remember her question at the time. I think we should just keep it consistent. And she has the opportunity to listen to the questions that we did ask because we heard it, voted down, so we remembered it. And again, like I said before, this is not our first time knowing that we have to write down, remember, and ask the same question to each candidate. I don't believe that's fair to Ms. Williams. And so she should not be allowed to ask the question.
How does the entire board feel about that?
I can't see what has been written on the board. I have no glasses. And I'm asking somebody to read it for me.
I'm just going to go around and ask the board how they feel.
Okay, fine.
Mr. Geller.
I think, just for consistency base, I think it's just fair, just that we can strike the first candidate off of the record, Ms. Allen's question, just to be consistent across the board, because it would lead to some, just unfairness for Ms. Williams.
Ms. Casimir.
I agree with Mr. Gillen.
Mr. Bennigan.
I agree with Mr. Gunning too.
I disagree simply because there is no consistency. One person was asked the question, one person was not asked the question. And we as a board, Robert's rules are very clear. When you're taking away somebody's right to speak, Ms. Allen got a right to speak at this meeting no matter what we do here. It would take a 2/3 vote to take away her right to ask her question. Since there's one question that's been asked and one question that has been asked, we can't put it back in the bottle that the question was asked once. So either way we vote has an inconsistency. And be very, very careful for 2/3 of the people take away a person's right to ask this question. And for there is no mechanism in place in Robert's rules to forbid a question from being asked or forbid a board member from speaking. So I totally disagree with taking away somebody's right to speak. That was elected, but that was elected by.
I think that's just inflated, to be frank. I think was taken, again, I was right to speak, just for basis of consistency. The question was asked initially, for the first candidate. The second candidate, unfortunately, we didn't retrieve the question in a timely manner to allow the second candidate to hear that question. So again, I think it will just be fair if we, make it our consideration to move forward, to make a decision. We don't, for the first candidate, we strike that question. We don't take that question into consideration. The first candidate's answer to this question.
But that would take a affirmative vote of the board to take away her right to ask the question. And we'll take a motion, which is not coming out, so let's just have a discussion right now.
Correct.
So the board.
Mr. Traver?
I think we should have taken the time to recall the question from the record for the second candidate. We were pressing too hard and we couldn't pull it up. I understand Ms. Baptiste Perez's concern, and we could have pulled it up then. We pulled it up on the break in an effort to allow Ms. Allen's question to be done. I understand your concern. We've also bent the rules with regard to allowing you to ask 3 questions. To me, I think we're being a little rigid here. So I am being a little more flexible. We're just trying to, these are semi-informal discussions. We're hearing what people are saying. We're having an exchange. I don't think it needs to be that rigid, but obviously I've already heard 4 people vote. So the question is moved when it gets to me.
All right, would anyone like to put a motion on the floor?
Motion to strike Ms. Allen from asking the question that was not asked to all candidates.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Gellin. All in favor?
Aye.
There's 3 ayes. Any opposed?
Opposed.
I oppose as well.
Opposed.
All right. So
Oh,
3,
Do we have 5 opposed?
Roll call.
oh, roll call. Mr. Gellin.
Yes.
Opposed.
Can't hear
Yes.
you.
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Baptiste Perez.
Strike, yeah.
Ms. Casimir. Mr. Benningham.
Yes.
No.
Mr. Sakosha.
No.
Bobby Brown, no. Ms. Allen.
No.
Mr. Traver.
Motion fails.
Motion fails. So Ms. Allen, you have to read the question that is already on here that Mr. McLeod got for you.
I don't have glasses for me. I can't see it.
Is the board have a problem if I read Ms. Allen's question?
Yes.
I can't see.
Here.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I can see.
Okay, Ms. Allen.
Have you made any changes utilized and that you can pass on to the district vision and something else?
No, that's not the question, but that's.
Oh, this is the question. Have you made any changes utilized that you can pass on to the district?
Correct.
I didn't understand it. Have you utilized? Have you made any changes utilized and that you can pass on to the district?
I'm understanding that correctly. When I was a parent in Bassett High School, okay, we actually restarted the school governance council and the parent teacher student organization. We started that up, jump started. So, change, yes, bringing more parents into the school, getting them more engaged. We had, math nights. We had, literacy nights. We had a book club over there at the school. We had an author coming from Sandy Hook that was involved at that time when the tragedy happened there, her and her son. wrote books. She came and she, presented her book, talked to the students on how to be authors. The students loved it. It was just more about, fun stuff for students to do. And like I said, everybody is not interested in sports. So that was different. That was a change because we did not have, those types of things there. That year, when our children first came to Bath in their freshman year, we had a talent show. And, as PTSO president, we raised money that way. We had, several things for parents to do and come into the parent room, use the computers, so on and so forth. Bilingual people can come in and do the ESL. So, yeah, it was about bringing the parents together with the students because that's what the legislature had in mind when they had school governance councils formed. So that is what we did. We brought that back in. I brought that back in when I came in. Actually, Mr. Alexander was there at the time, and we restarted that.
Thank you. Mr.
You're
Chairman.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Ms. Kennedy, how do you feel about charter schools and the use of public money to fund them
Charter schools. You mean in our district?
in general?
In general,
Public education.
public education. Actually.
And you can answer that either way. My question was a general question. You can answer about the district too.
Okay, well, my knowledge is based on what I know about charter schools here in the Bridgeport.
That would
So
be
we have 6. And to my understanding that certain funding has to go to them for our buses and I think bilingual teachers, special needs students and things like that. So it may take a strain on our budget. The fact of the matter is, they're still our students. They're still our children. Every single child in this district that goes to a school, whether it is public, parochial, charter, magnet, Bullet Havens, they're all our children here in the city of Bridgeport. So whatever we can do to help those children, that's what we need to do. Our mayor here, our city council needs to realize that we need to fully fund all our schools. Okay, there's no picking and choosing. Okay, I have 5 children in my house. I'm gonna feed you 3 tonight, and the other 3 I'm not, other 2 I'm not gonna feed. No, we have to feed all our children, no matter who they are. And that's why I also appreciate my sister's VIP college prep program because she takes children from everywhere. It doesn't matter what school you're coming from. It doesn't matter if you're coming from the magnet, the charter, or whatever. She takes them all because guess what? Every single child that has a resident in Bridgeport are our children, no matter what school they go to. So it's our responsibility to take care of them. Now, do we need to make it better and figure out how we can evenly divide funds and different things like that? Absolutely. Do we need to help everybody accountable in each and every school? And our people, as far as city council, the mayor, and even ourselves, as how that money is distributed, that's what we have to do. That's when you have to come to the table and be grown up and reason together and do the right thing for the students, no matter who they are, no matter where they go, no matter what their, ethnicity is, persuasion, gender, whatever. We have to just learn to take care of our children. We just have to learn to take care of our children, no matter what. There's no negotiating there. We have to take care of our children. That's our mandate. That's how I think about it.
Thank you. And the last question is, this seat requires a level of flexibility. Do you believe your schedule will allow for you to attend special meetings, board meetings, and committee meetings?
Absolutely. I've done it before. I'll do it again. I'll be at every single meeting.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms.
Thank
Cindy,
you.
for interviewing with us this evening. This ends the interview portion of our meeting. There is a meeting on Monday. Please feel free to attend, and you'll know the next steps from there.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Good night, Colonel Six.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy.
This item has an executive session attached to it. Would someone like to make a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Kazimir, second by Mr. Benahan. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Could you please pause us and we'll come right back. I'm not.
It's warm out here.
Alright, So, all board members that were a part of executive session have returned back from the meeting. At this moment, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Baptiste Perez, second by Ms. Cashmere, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. God bless you all. Now outside's gonna be windy.